Hey, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful day. The NASDAQ snapped its 3-day losing streak, which of late is like a mini crash in context of what we've seen lately, which is I've been doing this 3 decades. This has been one of the greatest, most persistent rallies that I've ever seen. And we have got, of course, the big enchilada of earnings reports coming out. But that's the thing about NVIDIA. It kind of gets there late. It's a little late to the party, isn't it? Being so important, it's a little bit late to the party. Here, let me get you guys over here. It's the thing is, we get so many indications from other companies that it's not the only game in town, right? So for years there, for 2023, 24, 25, good chunk of 25, it was the NVIDIA story, right? Everybody waited. As I said this morning, the piano player stopped playing. Everyone's sort of glued to the TVs. What's going on? Like the OJ, like the OJ, jury decision. It was like, I remember being on the floor and that place was not quiet, but you could hear a pin drop and everybody just kind of waited and listened. It was like literally like right out of a movie, like in Trading Places when they were waiting for the crop report. Pin drop. And that's kind of how it used to be for NVIDIA, but it's not that much anymore, right? NVIDIA now has a lot of kind of co-stars, right? That was the big name, and of course it was all based on training, right? So we've had these two distinctive, phases in AI. I mean, AI goes way back. Everybody thinks it started with ChatGPT. Of course, it goes way back. I remember overseeing and running a bunch of these AI funds in the 2017, 2018, 2019 range. And we had a lot of the same conversations. Infinite data, it's going to be incredible. We're going to have cars driving on their own. They're going to reduce accidents by 90%. I mean, it was a lot of the very, very same conversations based on DeepMind, Google DeepMind, really doing all this amazing stuff, beating players at Go and chess we already did years before, beating poker players in No Limit Hold'em. And that's amazing. That was, and of course, starting to see improvements, AI doing better than radiologists. Have you heard that lately? Oh, AI can do better than radiologists. It already could, like 8 or 9 years ago. Newsflash. It's just that what we're doing was we've gotten to a big inflection point. And so what I started saying was there's training, which is really kind of feeding the computer, right? You're feeding it all this data and you're teaching it and training it and trying to get it to understand things. And as the GPUs have gotten better, as the processors have gotten better, we now see that we've shifted to the inference stage. So it used to be kind of 90% training, 10% inference, and inference is how we put this data to use, right? How we put this intelligence to use. How does this now start to feed into the rest of the economy? How does it give us all superhuman abilities to do things, to create things, to derive insight? And now we're probably 20% training and 80% inference. We have really had this huge shift. And so when you think of the implication of that for compute, it's massive. And we were talking about this last year, how this becomes the much more compute heavy side of things, right? You now have the thinking part uses much more power. It uses much more compute in the sense that it never stops, right? It just keeps going. You're not training something one and done. It's now constantly going on. And you're seeing that desire for compute absolutely explode to the point where even Anthropic was like, we didn't invest enough. And so when you think about that, There's a lot of noise out there. But when you think about that, what it means is that we are in a stage where people are starting to be aware of AI. People are starting to get excited. They're starting to use it, and it's early stage. And so we are just going to see this catch on for the next 5-10 years. And this is going to be a very big thing. And that's what we've seen with the semiconductor run, is that we don't have enough. We don't have enough of a lot of stuff. And if anything can kind of stop the excitement, it could very well be here. I'm trying to share my screen. Christian, if you're there. So as we await these earnings, we can see Amazon's NVIDIA alternative starts winning over AI developers. We can see the ASML CEO, AI supercycle, reshaping the global chip supply demand landscape. I mean, there literally is a level of demand out there that is so high, and NVIDIA is the Birkin bag of GPUs, but there are other clothes in the closet. There are other handbags. There are other sorts of things, to use that analogy. And so the compute landscape now includes CPUs, right? So everything's kind of working in a cycle. Suddenly CPUs are back again, and it's kind of exciting. And inference is very much CPU dependent. Okay, so we've got some earnings out.
Expecting most buy-side numbers were also 75%. Many people were anticipating this return to shareholders. The company is increasing its quarterly cash dividend from 1 cent per share to 25 cents per share of common stock.
1 cent to 25 cents per share increase in cash dividend.
I just want to reiterate that. 81.
It's a dividend stock now.
Buy side was expecting between 81 and 82 billion. That could be contributing to some of the stock drop. I'll have more in just a few minutes. But just to underscore this, Christina, the
187 adjusted. They were looking for 176.
176 adjusted. So just for our audience, I have my team in one ear, and we're just going over it just right now to double check.
4.5 billion charge on H20 inventory purchase obligations tied to China export controls.
That we're comparing that.
All right, come back to us, Christina.
Promise.
Yeah, Cody.
They might not like that. We're seeing it.
How do you interpret that EPS number in terms of whether or not it accounts for stock-based compensation?
Yeah, it looks like a clean beat across the board by 12 cents. I've got about 75 on the street. I know their numbers are about 76, but regardless, it does look like a pretty clean beat across the board with strong demand.
Looks pretty good.
Up 21% in it.
Looks pretty good. 76 cents, clean beat. Margin direction is going to be really important. Let's take a look and see what the margin is going to be. That is, of course, the thing that has impressed for so very long. We want to see, is there any pressure on margin? And we also want to see what's the situation in China, right? China it's important. NVIDIA is going to do fantastic regardless of having any China business at all. But it is probably, what is it, maybe 15, 17% of sales. A lot of stuff goes to China. A lot of stuff goes to China.
And the initial shipments of Rubin, as was talked about earlier, starting to contribute. So it does look like they're seeing
Vera Rubin numbers, good. That's very important. I mean, some of these new chips are seriously unbelievable. Let's take a look at NVIDIA here.
And Patrick, what else jumps out here?
Down 223. So we're sitting above, I think that's kind of important, right? We're sitting above that 9 EMA. The 9 EMA is something I'm always interested, because if we respect the 9 EMA, we remain either in a bull market if we're above it, or if we're below it, we remain in a challenged market.
I think what people might be forgetting is that they've expanded their product line.
The estimate for this quarter was 166. A year ago, the estimate for this quarter was 136. So essentially, this stock has always been cheaper than it has looked at the moment because of the acceleration relative to expectations. I just wonder, how much longer that treadmill is going to run.
They keep, yes, that's the thing, right? A year ago, the expectations were quite a bit lower than they are now. Now that the expectations ramped up and they've beaten. And the question is, well, how much longer do we keep doing that, right? How much longer do we go in with this incredible amount of optimism? Well, I mean, I think it's famous last words. Well, maybe NVIDIA is not going to beat this time, and it usually does. And given that it really is in the driver's seat, primarily because of CUDA, right? So if you look at something like Trainium, Amazon's chips, basically they're good in some ways, but they're not as good. And so the way that they're going to compete is on price. So Amazon's going to sell them really, really cheap. And that's the Amazon way, right? Cut everybody out of the business and sell those. And that's going to work for them because there is an infinite demand for compute out there, right? So there's really this opportunity because it's such an incredible environment where we are essentially inventing electricity, and now everybody's got to put together the hardware and the infrastructure to support electricity. Everybody's got to get on board. So it really the wealth is spread in a true bull market. A lot of even lesser products are going to benefit because people are going to want to save money and they're going to want to have product, right? They're going to want these GPUs.
The revenue categories, which is composed of data centers, pro-viz, robotics, auto, etc. They're adding a new category called edge computing, and within that category, there is a line that stands out in this set of notes.
They're adding
edge computing revenue for the first quarter was up 29%, and then for the year over year up 10% sequentially. But the quote is, the increases were driven by robust Blackwell workstation demand, partially offset by slower consumer PC demand that was tempered by elevated memory and system prices. So that seems to be the first set of commentary about higher memory prices.
So that's normal.
Computing. I know it's not as big of a contributor compared to data center revenue, but it's something that we're
So basically they're saying, okay, their consumer revenue is softer, right? So the gaming revenue. So remember when NVIDIA made chips for gaming. And so that's not nearly as important anymore because, of course, data centers are what it's all about. It's about the training phase. And now they're also saying, so you'll notice NVIDIA lately, so they bought Grok, not Grok, Elon Grok, the other one. They're moving into inference. This time they said, hey, we're seeing an increase in revenues from edge computing, right? So NVIDIA is now pivoting away in conversation, but in practice as well, to areas that they've been known to be very, very strong in, which is the training part of the equation. Now they're saying, we're looking at edge now, because in this new world of every device and machine and mechanism and sensor around us in the world, we're going to want to have AI at the edge. That's what that means. Just basically local, it's on site. I need my car to have edge AI at the edge because I can't wait a split second to figure out if that's a tree I can drive through or not. It probably isn't, but we need the car to figure that out instantly and not have to wait for things. So they're throwing out the catchphrases, edge computing growing 29%.
Hey, Hans.
Hey, Mark.
I'm here now. So we're going through these earnings, huh? So far, the stock itself is not doing very much. Have they given guidance yet? Because that's the piece I've been waiting on. Then probably the piece the whole market. Really nice beat on both. Really nice beat on both top and bottom line, though. And gross margins of 75%.
Nothing
that
to complain about. Yeah,
is ridiculous. That is just,
it's ridiculous, Mark. But it's amazing. But it's quite amazing how quarter after quarter, year after year, we kind of go, wow, that's amazing. And I agree, it's always amazing. But this is a world of infinite compute demand, and that's, I mean, they do have more competition than they used to. That's for sure.
yes.
But it's the Birkin bag.
It is, for those of you that don't know, a Birkin bag is a very expensive handbag made by Hermes. And it might be the only thing, and they've gone up so much in value that and because there's infinite demand, like every rich person wants a Birkin bag, and there's very little supply. So they have a similar behavior to NVIDIA. In fact, Birkin bags may have actually, I'd have to go look at where they're pricing now, but they may be one of the assets that's kind of performing as well as NVIDIA has over the last few months and years. All right, now it's dropping a little bit, Hans.
A little bit
currently
of
down about $1.
Data center revenue, I'm looking at this, Mark, 60.4 billion. So that actually came in slightly below expectations, which were closer to 61 billion. But like you said, gross margins held. Look, I mean, there are 3,000 data centers under construction in the US, and the rest of the world has really lagged for the most part. And so if there's some inkling that they're going to cede some business in the data center build, then that of course won't be a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I feel like we're not that far off from some of the people starting to catch up on to them. We've seen the move Intel and AMD have made, and we've seen the move that Broadcom has made, and ARM, and really anybody who makes a chip, Google, Amazon. AI is now they're now figuring out ways to. Oh, here, you want to share your screen?
Yeah. So here it is. I'm showing the NVIDIA. So the whole game was of course the NVIDIA GPU. Now it's still a very powerful game. Nobody's gonna unseat NVIDIA, partially because what people don't talk about enough is their CUDA moat, right? So they basically have millions and millions of developers who've gotten used to essentially conducting business through their ecosystem. It isn't just a chip, it's the software, it's the integration of that into things that people do, and the millions of things that people have created based on CUDA and NVIDIA. So that's very, very strong, right?
Is that like the Windows of semiconductor chips? Is that how you would maybe describe that?
It is, and they've been around for so long that they have that head start, right? It's like trying to unseat, Amazon. They're just so good at that e-commerce. They're so good at logistics. I mean, it's not exactly like that, but you have to understand they've been doing this for so very long. But having said that, challengers gaining share, TPUs, inference and hyperscale, right? So a lot of people
Can you zoom in on this? I'm having trouble reading this.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's see if I can
Thank you. There we go. That's what the people want to see.
There we go, people. Trainium, of course, is Amazon. And I think that, that's one reason I kind of like Amazon, because I think they're going to do a lot of business, and they basically are undercutting everybody. They're like, hey, this is the dollar store. We got this amazing.
Wait a minute, Amazon undercutting? No way.
They're cheap.
No way. Well, Amazon.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Jeff Bezos's old saying was, "Your margin is my edge."
Exactly. You got it.
And so this is classic Amazon playbook to do this. Yeah. So it is a classic thing. And so Trinium, they're undercutting. They're the cheap. They're the Ford Escort of chips, if you will. They're the bag that you buy at the if NVIDIA is the Birkin bag, then they're going to be the bag that you bought at Walmart that is a knockoff of a Birkin bag that cost you $18.
That's right. They're like the Borkin bag. It's like the Chinese made. It's got an O. The Borkin bag.
The Borkin bag.
It's the Borkin bag.
That sounds like a joke from Borat. Like, oh, is that a Birkin bag? No, is Borkin bag.
The Borkin bag.
Bags are the best. They're made in Kazakhstan.
That's right. Yeah, it's like some of these brands. My wife always makes fun of them. I said, honey, I was at Costco and I got this like English. I don't know. I can't remember the brand of it. Modern English shirt. It used to be like kind of a hot thing. She's like, Hans, your first hint that it's not that hot anymore, that it's not a great brand, is that they sell it at Costco. I said, no, that's not true, but it probably is true.
It is true.
As soon as they start selling the Birkin bags at Costco, I'm going to say it's over.
Yeah. I don't know if that's coming.
No.
All right. So you've got Trinium. So now so we got now I think a lot of people get AMD and Intel, right? They're doing CPUs. They're trying to work their way into GPUs and some of the things there. Maybe walk through what's the difference between a GPU and a TPU, and then what is the ARM relationship with all of this?
Well, the ARM relationship, ARM's basically, they don't sell chips, right? They sell blueprints. So every Trainium, every Apple chip, every Qualcomm chip runs on ARM architecture. So they're kind of like, they design, they create, and they're kind of like a bit of a toll booth. So I love that kind of business. We saw it jump about 13, 14% today. I was bidding for these leaps yesterday and I didn't get them. And I'm like, Hans, when you get an idea, just execute. Don't get cute with it. And the GPU, well, okay, we'll talk about, first of all, GPU. The amazing thing about GPUs is, and this is how Jensen did so well, he was like making video games. He's like, this is really great. Spending his nights, playing, what was it? Bond 64, N64, the Nintendo 64, whatever it was. It might've been earlier than that. But
GoldenEye was what it was called.
What was it called?
It was called GoldenEye.
GoldenEye. That was amazing. What a great game. And so this was the beautiful thing. And GPUs were, and then suddenly somebody realized that, well, GPUs can kind of do, many things at once. So CPUs are kind of like guys. They think about one thing and one thing only at a time. And GPUs are able to do a whole bunch of things. And that's where neural networks came out, this sort of, the ability to kind of almost replicate the way that a brain works. That's the part of GPUs that really kind of speaks to how at least how things got going in 2015, 2016, when things started to really ramp up. And so so people have forgotten about CPUs, but CPUs actually run more efficiently. They're very good at one thing. So you can think of the GPU as sort of the brains, and then the CPU as being very good at kind of executing. CPUs do things in a kind of linear way versus GPUs, which kind of do a lot of things at once. But they do them very fast and very efficiently. And so that's very important for inference. You want to kind of have the brains start to kind of delegate. And that's why they work quite well together. So the Apple's chips are kind of a GPU, CPU, kind of rolled into one. And we're starting to see things like Cerebras, things like that put the memory, the GPU, the CPU, everything's just kind of working together to create this sort of inference machine that is unstoppable.
Yeah, and now this inference machine, now agentic, I know I made the joke earlier, it is not a energetic octogenarian. What that means is, at certain points of time, people have personal assistants, or they'll have an administrative assistant, or in the case of OptionPit, I'm the CEO, but there are over 20 people here that make these things happen, right? And you could consider, like, Hannah is an agent for OptionPit. I am an agent for OptionPit. Hans, you're an agent for OptionPit. You execute stuff for us. What agentic is doing is allowing the AI to now really work for you as your assistant. Agentic sounds fancy. What it really is just it's an AI assistant, an AI helper that you can put responsibilities on, right? I'm in the middle of having an agent do things for, go through order flow for me to make my life easier when I'm running Delta Strike. Right? When I look at LiveVol, I'm looking at 1,000 option orders. Now, my brain can run through those quickly, But how much easier is it if my agent knows exactly what I want to look at and gives me the 20 trades that fall within what I'd want to look at?
Well, and this is the thing, right? So the amazing thing, and why this is so taxing on compute, is the ability to create agents around you is like expanding your team, right? And so that's why they say, listen, you better understand this stuff, because if you're looking to get a job, they're going to get you, and if you know what you're doing, they're also going to get the 5-10 agents that come with you, because you understand AI. So this is going to be very much a requirement for people to understand and be able to create this sort of agentic network around them. And so these things can run all night long. They run 24/7. They don't call in sick. And they're able to do things very well, and they don't forget, right? They don't forget. Somebody was talking about this earlier. They said, is AI going to be a better doctor? Yes, it's going, because it remembers. It doesn't forget anything. It doesn't forget what you've told it. It doesn't. It's able to know you better than your doctor can over time, because it literally never forgets, and it's constantly building your file in a way that's extremely efficient, and potentially won't make any mistakes. Hopefully, for as long as it's doing this. And so that there are so many amazing things that come with that, this agentic sort of world. This is exciting. So we want to talk about why this agentic world is so important. Well, because we are going to be creating agents. Think about, there are 8 billion people in the world. Maybe, I don't know how many of those transact and do things. Well, imagine that you've got this world of agents being created, and there will be bad actors out there too, which is why cybersecurity stocks are doing well, because there's going to be this whole world behind the scenes of billions and billions of agents doing things. They're going to be transacting. They're going to be trading. They're going to be buying things, selling things, executing, creating programs. And so it really is going to be this sort of incredible world underneath the surface. I almost liken it to, like, you see some insects, on top of the ground when they crawl out, but there are like a gajillion of them underneath. And that's what the agentic world is going to be like. And that's going to require its own infrastructure.
Yeah. So this is where I wanted to go. All right. Now we have the infrastructure. There's infrastructure stocks that are absolutely rallying this. And then you've also you did a free report that had 3 stocks in it. SOLZ, CNLK, and AKAM. Those are the first 3. I want to hit on those. And then I want to talk about, the picks and shovels of AI and how we can do that. And then we'll talk to you about how you can get in on these amazing option trades that Hans has. So let's start by talking these 3 names that you have. You have SOLZ.
Yeah, so we've got SOLZ. So the important part is that I've put together this agentic basket, and it touches upon important categories. So number 1 is going to be the speed layer, because what happens in the agentic world? Well, we are the bottleneck, right? We are the weakness in the cycle here. Once you remove humans and you have these agents doing things at light speed, practically, then you need things to work very, very quickly. And then the other one is going to be that truth layer. Well, if there's going to be an infinite amount of information being passed around and pushed around, and agents kind of trying to do this and that, and coming to websites and working their way into our existing world, our digital world, well, we need that truth layer, that trust layer to work. We need to know that this is a genuine request coming from a genuine source that is reputable, that we can trust. That is a massive, massive part of the equation. If you don't have that, this all falls apart. It literally just falls apart. And then the third one is going to be the security layer, which is touches upon that a little bit. So you've got that we want to make sure the numbers are good. And then we want that security layer. So we want to make sure we've got the bouncers at every step of the way. If you guys are on the internet, you may notice quite frequently that it says, oh, Cloudflare is assessing what you're doing. Well, Cloudflare is one of those companies. Akamai is one of those companies. that is dealing with that security layer, you need those bouncers there to basically make sure everything is kosher. And so there are certain pieces to the puzzle that really have to be in place for this kind of infrastructure. So, and I think people are kind of underestimating how important this is, and I don't blame them, because this new phase, Mark, has only been around, for all intents and purposes, for the past 5-6 months, right? When was the first time you heard about OpenClaw or agentic, or the ability to create these teams of things doing for you? This is relatively new.
Okay, so SOLZ, Solana, this is a crypto. Is this going to be kind of the unit of currency these agents use? Why is SOLZ such a key to this story? Give me the elevator pitch on SOLZ.
So this is it. This is a crypto which you can trade. There are a number of different things you can trade based on it. And this is about that sort of needing to transact at machine speed, right? At super high speeds, microseconds. Again, you can't wait for the information. You've got to get it done now. So this is about having those rails that are built for volume, for speed, for, they're programmable. Settlements. We're going to be doing real estate deals. We're going to be doing, deals of all kinds, transactions of all kinds. You need this part of it to really work very well. So Solana is one of those few crypto networks that explicitly has been created specifically for speed. Bitcoin is not fast. Bitcoin is big and lumbering. Solana is at this point the speedy version of what we need for those rails.
Awesome. All right. So the next one is CNLK. That's
okay. So
no, is it CLNK? I think.
Well, there's CLNK and then there's GLNK, right? So there's the same thing. They're based on Chainlink.
There was a typo here. It's GLNK. Thank you.
Yeah, GLNK has the option, so that's the advantage to GLNK. And so this is a cool one, Mark. You're going to like this because you like sports. But let's say you've created some sort of thing that depends on. Let's say you're a bookie. You've created like a bookie platform. Everyone's betting on this and that. Well, how do you know what the ultimate settlement is going to be? You need to be able to trust that you haven't gone out to Joe Blow's source for last night's NBA scores. This has to be undeniably accurate, and that's what GLNK does. These cryptos have these abilities, and that's why crypto is kind of an interesting thing, because there's 99% of it is complete and utter garbage. But the part that has gotten me excited is the part that speaks to utility, which is what we've been talking about for the last year, which is how does this start to help us make money for us, make our lives easier, et cetera. That's utility, usefulness. And Chainlink system is all about that. Market, data feeds, proof of reserve, automation, data streams to make sure that all that data is accurate, verifiable, and you can't have a settlement on a contract without that verification.
All right, now the last one on your report is AKAM. That's Akamai Technologies. Trading about 143. It's actually moving pretty nice day to day. Talk to me about why Akamai is such a huge part of your agentic movement. Remember, agentic is just another word for your AI assistant, your AI buddy, your AI administrative assistant. So where does Akamai fit in this?
Well, this is one that really gets me excited because I think it's being re-rated, right? So Akamai has sort of been known as this sort of, decade-old security sort of bouncer that basically deals with things. They're called DDoS attacks, and that's kind of like when you try to overwhelm a system, you try to jam 1,000 people through a doorway, and then you're able to weaken it and do things. This is becoming part of a re-rating story, I think, because they're starting to show that they're specifically dealing with the agentic world. And that's really cool. I love when I see a new way to look at a company. And I think we're going to see more of that over the next few years, because that's the world we're in, right? Disruption and this and that. And you're going to see companies kind of shift into different areas and focus. And so they've shown that they have some really, really good growth in some new areas, some new product areas that are very specific. And that's why we had a nice little bit of a jump here. And I think this pullback is a little bit of a gift, because that bouncer, right? When you have millions and billions of agents operating simultaneously, you got to know which ones are legit, which ones are not. We talked about, if any of you saw me talk about the grandmother fraud, like, your grandmother gets a call and it's from you, and you're saying, hey, listen, you need to send me some money. I'm in a little bit of trouble here. And in the end, it isn't even you. It's somebody that looks like you. It's somebody that sounds like you. We need to have the very best bouncers out there that make sure that grandma is protected. And that's really part of the rails that we're talking about. These things that, if you don't have these things working, nobody's going to use this stuff. And this is one of my favorite bouncers out there.
And folks, there is a full breakdown of these three names in the report that you can download. But there's more. I wanted to talk for about 4 or 5 minutes. You and I have been talking the AI picks and shovels, And you've got some names that you think are really going to meet, not fully priced into what exactly is needed. And, you're talking Texas Instruments. You're talking PWR. You're talking Corning, GLW. And then one that you threw out that is a major infrastructure play that maybe people aren't thinking about. Caterpillar and Deere and Company. So I want to kind of focus on Caterpillar in particular, because I bet you, how many people have thought of Caterpillar, right? They make bulldozers. Yeah. They make, backhoes. They make cranes. They make, well, they're not steam shovels anymore, but they make excavators. Talk to me. I think that would, how many people thought of Caterpillar? Type in a 1 if you think of tractors and bulldozers as an AI play up until right now. And now you're like, oh, that makes sense. But type in a 1 if that is something you'd thought about.
If you have, if you have a 2-year-old, they may be a better stock picker than all of us right now, because they love bulldozers. They love anything with like yellow with cat on it and deer. And that would be their choice. I want to invest in that, Dad. And they wouldn't be wrong, because we talked about this months ago. And I said, listen, what people have wrong here, I think, is that and this is maybe part of the re-rating story, is framing something in a completely different way. So they thought chips were cyclical. They're not, right? They ebb and flow with the economy. They don't. They're structural. They're a requirement. And I think early in the year, we saw some areas that were really cheap, because you and I watch options a lot, Mark.
Yes.
And some of the option prices are really low in some of these industrial areas, these industrial names.
They
are. And it's because people are used to the way Corning didn't move for 20 years. Now it's exciting. Now it's like they sell crack. Everyone needs it because we work infinite compute means we need to move data as quickly as humanly possible, as quickly as possible. And that's where some of these old technologies and these old approaches are going to have to come back in, right? And so I think that's what's exciting about these areas, is that they're thought of in a way that is very kind of, 20 years ago, well, I'm not going to bother with this boring stuff. But the thing is, now boring is beautiful again because of this massive, massive build out. And we talked this morning about this release, somebody at Siemens saying, listen, this is not a normal market anymore. A normal market is where my customers argue on price and give me a deal and give me this. I am getting calls where people are saying, I just get me product. What's the price? Okay, that's fine. This is a mania that is working its way into the infrastructure world, into all these old companies that everyone here knows the name of, and some that you haven't heard of, because retiling the earth for AI is going to require a lot of stuff, and stuff is scarce. And people with skills, they say now, boy, you want to have a job for the next 5 years? be an electrician, be AT&T just said 2 days ago, they just said, we can't find enough people to do physical things. And if that doesn't tell you what's going on out there, you're missing what's happening here, because it is not a 3 or 6 month story. It is a multi-year story that I think you can still get into. We've seen a little pullback in some of these names, and you want to jump on board because we've got the right options to play and the right ways to play this theme.
Yeah, Deere reports tomorrow morning. If it's down, that's going to be one that I'm looking to get into. Yes. So, folks, we've given you now 4 names that Hans is trading in his agentic portfolio. Remember, agentic is just another word for that AI assistants that we're all going to have. I've got one. Hans has several. Tim Colby has a couple of them. This is going to be a big thing. One of my goals for my son, 16 years old, he's got 2 things he's going to do this summer. He's reffing soccer. Actually, he's got 3. He's going to be starting a garbage can cleaning business. So he's going to get and that's going to pay him pretty good. And then the third thing, and this is going to be for me, he is going to build AI assistants for his life, for Lauren, for probably not Valentino. I don't think he needs an AI assistant. And then for me, and not a chatbot that he's sitting there chatting with. I want him to build something that's going to actually help him with his work. He wants to start a business. He wants me to do all the accounting. Your AI assistant that you're going to build is going to do your accounting for you. Oh, you want a website? You want dad to do it? No. Your AI assistant is going to do it, son. So this is coming, and I'm going to be encouraging, as Hans said, the next wave, everybody coming out of that is going to be going into the workforce is going to have their own agents. So Mark is going to be building agents for himself, and Hans is going to reveal in special situations. He's already done this. He's got more coming. Everything that is going to be going into this new age of AI, this new revolution that is going to change our lives, where we don't really know what things are going to look like in 2028. But we know they're probably going to be a lot better. So what I want you to do, they're dropping an order form. You can join special situations, and it'll give you access to all of Hans's plays on the agentic push. The agentic push, we've got a big special situation right now, and Hans wants you in it at the onset before everybody else realizes how big this is. So you can click this link to join us. Now, I want to tell you something else, and this may be even cooler. All right, we have a program called Special Situations Unlimited. It's essentially lifetime access to all of our special situations. My post-earnings trades. I closed a trade in Microsoft that was up over 200%. I closed a Tesla trade that was up to over 200%. Another trade, I've done lots of things, but it also includes 2 special portfolios. Hans and I have what's called the Option Pit Small Cap portfolio that focuses on small caps that are in on AI, the resources of AI, or space. So, which is also an AI play. So that portfolio holds things like Lunar or USA Rare Earth. And it is accumulated in the last year using options a 628% return. Our next portfolio we're going to be adding is in the quantum space. And then once Hans gets this agentic push through special situations, we're going to have a real talk about doing a small cap, a small mid cap agentic portfolio that you can trade as well. So that's something we're looking at. We haven't established that. The quantum piece is 100% coming. And if you want to join Special Situations Unlimited, you can join for 10% off. All right. You can join for 10% off. They are dropping in the keyword to get that 10% off right now. So click the link and join us. Special Situations is really inexpensive. It's the least expensive way to join us here at Option Pit. We're talking $49 for a month. But the unlimited, which is the lifetime, is only $12.99, and with that 10% off, you're getting it for a song. And that includes my small cap portfolio. That includes the upcoming quantum portfolio, all my post earnings trades, all of Andrew's cool vol trades, all of Hans's Agenic trade. So this is kind of the investment you should make in yourself, because through Special Situations, you're being presented the future. And we're helping you make a lot, 628%. Hans, we did real well on that small cap portfolio. And I'm long Lunar right now, and those are up over 100%. So you have a real opportunity to join us. I'd invite you to click the link, or you can call my team, 888-872-3301. I'm looking to see if people have any questions. Let's see. There a lot of people are saying agribusiness is dragging, so may come down after earnings. I'm going to be looking to try and make some money off this. Societal, yeah, there is a societal pushback on AI. But I think as people realize the positives of AI, that'll change. Now, data centers, these big companies, they need to figure out a better way to communicate with people that don't live in San Francisco or Seattle. That's where your pushback is coming from, right? Get somebody who has an understanding of what life is like in Ohio or Missouri or Virginia or West Virginia or Nebraska, or I could name every state that isn't California or Washington, and have them work and contribute to those towns. That does need to happen. But so what I want you to, I'm looking to see if we've got any other, we've already got a couple members joining Special Situations. And if you've got questions, call 888-872-3301. And if you are in Special Situations, want to upgrade, call my team and they'll take extra special care of you. Let's see. What else do we have? Anybody else have any questions for Hans? All right. So once again, for $49, you can join the Agentic push for Special Situations, and you get a month. So we're probably going to have another Special Situation in there over the next couple of days. I'm going to have a post NVIDIA earnings play that I am going to be doing Special Situations that you get access to. $49. That's a third of filling up my truck. Then, better yet, join Special Situations, join for life, get that 10% off. All right. And Hans, the conference call is starting. I want to say thank you for breaking down these earnings. Thank you for joining us. We are closing this special in 7 hours, so you got to jump in. David says, I made back my lifetime unlimited cost in the first month. Is there portfolio history of Special Situations? Yes, there is. We have done reasonably well. And remember, even this comes with try it for 2 weeks. And if you're not happy, we'll give you your money back. All right. Yeah, it's a truck. And that is, and again, we have that refund policy. So you can check everything out. I would consider it, but committed to. All right, Anthony, that's great. This is something that's it doesn't take a lot of work, and it's something that you can do, that you can look at once and then come back in a month and you're probably gonna have some more money. All right. Cool.
This is great, guys. I think, Mark, Special Situations is awesome because
me too.
I think we get the idea that I think people get the impression that it's all about semiconductors, and it isn't. There's so much other stuff going on here. as AI kind of infiltrates so many other areas, and they're not always talked about on CNBC and all the sort of main media. So it's a great way to learn about very, very interesting things going on, because of course that's what we're paid to do. Constantly look for great opportunities.
Yeah, here is just since May, all right, or April 30th, a month ago. We have a 35% winner. We lost 14%. We made 22, 242, 157, 55.83, 20. You say, well, Mark, show me the month before that. Okay, we will. We had one loser, USO, and then we had a 75% winner, a 28% winner, a 125% winner in Netgear, and we had a 7% win in VIX, 61% in AVAV in March, Feb as well. And it ends up averaging about 2 to 3 trades a month. So not a lot to complain about there. Again, join us in special situations. Click that link or call my team, 888-872-3301. All right, everybody. The conference call has started. I know Hans wants to dig in and hear what they have to say. Hans, thank you so much for your time. Again, call my team, 888-872-3301. So for Hans Albrecht, folks, the 10% off ends in 7 hours, so you got to do it today. So for Hans Albrecht, our head of income trading and the master of agentic AI infrastructure plays, I am Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. Have a great day. And as always, thanks, Christian.